Congressman Mark Pocan on the line, taking your calls in our Middays with Mark segment. Congressman, we just had a call from Michael, a listener, who was asking what is the current state of knowledge about why 4 U.S. soldiers died in Niger, or Niger, I guess is how it's a French colony pronunciation, and to what extent might that even be a political landmine for the Trump administration, a la Benghazi, if this was the result of some sort of incompetence or bad planning or not paying attention or whatever?
Yeah, and I think that's the point I think we need to really keep focused on. So I think this got created out of him claiming to be the best president ever on dealing with, Gold Star families, essentially. Found out that was, no surprise, a big lie. Now he's rushing out letters to everybody to do what he said he already did. But what came out of this is when he started this attack, and this foolish attack really on Frederica Wilson, because she's been completely honest and accurate about her portrayal of what happened, both from the call and from the video of her giving the speech. But the bottom line is, why are we there? What exactly happened? And we had a little conversation about this yesterday with Colonel Wilkinson, who was in about the situation in Yemen. And when we talked about it, I think Ted Lieu brought up there's like 34,000 troops that are essentially in unnamed missions, and Colonel Wilkinson said it's probably in 7 countries, including Niger being one of them. And he mentioned, this has been publicized, so it's not like classified or anything, but there's also a drone facility there and other things that we're working on. So, we need to have probably a little better handle on the 34,000 troops that are kind of these specialized troops that aren't part of normal missions in, again, about 7 countries around the world. But this particular action, there could very likely be more to it, and I think this has now put a spotlight on what probably would have gone unnoticed otherwise.
Carol in Monessen, Pennsylvania. You're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Hi, good afternoon. I have a question for the congressman. Congressman Pocan, it's Carol in Monessen. I would like to know how we can fight this tax plan, which is so egregious, whenever they're lying about it to a man from the top down. I live in, as I said, near Pittsburgh, and I have Pat Toomey. I've tweeted forever. I tweet constantly to Pat. I tweet to Charlie Dent. I do everything I can think of, and it does no good. They are not listening to us, and the networks are not coming out with the truth about this. So how in the world are we supposed to fight something like this?
I'll tell you, Carol, take the lesson we learned from healthcare. We defeated every attempt they've made this year because people got active and were vocal, but that was easier to understand, right? You either have healthcare or you don't. This is a bit more complex of an issue, for one, and two, this is their real goal of what they wanted when we had the healthcare fight. So keep doing what you're doing as far as reaching out to your elected officials. Those calls really matter. That's how we won the healthcare fight. Second, find the groups that are working on this and double down your involvement with them. Not One Penny is a group that I have a lot of respect for because they're a coalition of many people working on this issue. Groups like Indivisible do a fantastic job of making it so you can call into other districts and have them connected to their representative where we need to affect swing voters. And then just keep doing the social media so that your friends in other parts, not in Pennsylvania, can also contact their representatives and get that going. But we have to make this an all-out populist push against what they're doing, like we did with health care. And if we do that, we can be successful because we were successful on health care with this exact same strategy.
Mark in Valley, Washington. Mark, you're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Yeah, Congressman, I have a question for you. If you were to hold, or another congressman was to call a press conference, will the press show up?
Mark, I'll tell you, we do a lot of press conferences here in Washington. Our Progressive Caucus, which is the largest values-based caucus, about 77 members, will do it. And sometimes you may get some of the Capitol press corps for, like, Politico or The Hill or Roll Call here, but we don't usually get the bigger networks and other media, mainstream media, corporate media, to come and cover things. So if you just did it with one other member, very unlikely. We do it as a caucus, and sometimes we have trouble. It is really difficult to sometimes get that information out.
And yet, if the Tea Party caucus holds a press conference, they get covered 16 ways to Sunday, and they're smaller than you guys. What's the deal?
And they'll follow around Mark Meadows or different individuals from that caucus. Now, to be fair, Tom, I mean, they're in the majority, so they do have a tendency to cover that, but they don't cover just the ideas that we're trying to put out there, or when we try to get a message out. It is much more difficult.
Well, even when you guys were in the majority, I remember when in the first couple of years of the Obama administration, when you had both the House and the Senate, and the Congressional Progressive Caucus rolled out a great budget. We had Jan Schakowsky on this program breaking it down. Not one word of coverage in the national media, while the Tea Party's budget was everywhere. It's bizarre. I guess I'm complaining. I'm sorry, Congressman.